The oil exporting countries in the Middle East and North Africa are doing relatively well. If you look at their headline growth numbers, they're down to about 2% this year. But that's really because oil production is down in these countries, in part in some countries because of supply problems, in others because of global demand being lower. But if you get behind the headline and start looking at what's happening in the non-oil parts of their economy, which is where most people are employed, that is growing at a very healthy rate, about twice the rate of the economy as a whole. First, even though as a group they continue to have a fiscal surplus of about 4%, almost half the countries, mostly outside the GCC, are already having difficulty balancing their budgets, and their fiscal space is getting smaller and smaller. So action to try and rein in the growth in some of the hard-to-reverse spending, things like public sector jobs, for example. Second area is to provide jobs for their young people, nationals that are coming on stream, more education, more expectations. We are projecting economic growth on average in these countries to be about 3% both this year and in 2014. And 3% really is much too low to deal with the chronic unemployment problem, an unemployment problem which is particularly bad for young people and which has worsened over the past 2 years. For the oil importing countries, the immediate priority is to create jobs to sustain the political, social, and economic transitions that are now underway. To do this, because the private sector is going to be holding back for that little bit longer, governments will need to take more of a lead in terms of public sector financing of infrastructure projects, other job creating investment programs. And to be able to achieve this, because many of these countries don't really have the fiscal space to undertake more spending, they will need to reorient some of the money they're already spending in current government other functions, including some of the subsidies that are going to the very rich consumers of energy products.